Chris Cartman, Sun Devil Source. Kenny, you've kind of lived in 12 personnel here the last couple weeks and not had Jalen Moss, so I'm sure that's a factor. What have you taken from the way these games have gone that give you some idea of the identity of this offense moving forward and Sam's role within that?
Yeah, obviously you're always trying to figure yourself out early. And then Moss being out, he's a good football player, so he'll be back this week, barring something crazy happening, which will be really good for us to get back into some other stuff as well. So we should be able to have a little more balance. But it's been good putting the tight ends on the field and getting into surfaces to run the football. And those guys are versatile enough. Kamari hit 20 miles per hour in the game, so he's versatile enough to be out there. Shamon's versatile enough to get the ball, so same with Harp. So I think the versatility those guys have just allow you to create more formations with the same group. I do think anytime you create edges, it calms the quarterback down a little bit because you don't have to worry about, both sides of the, kind of shorten the vision, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's been kind of just good for us in general.
Hey, Kenny, back here. Jordan Ham, Sports 360 AZ. When you go back to the end of last year, you're making this great run. Was there any debate ever to bring Malik back or Raleek back and, not maintain that red shirt that seems pretty valuable right now for both of those guys?
No. I'm always going to do what's best for the player. I don't care about our season. It's my job to protect the player from themselves. Every player wants to play. It's human nature. It's my job to make sure they're doing what's best for them, and then when we get on the field, we play as hard as we can for us. But that never crossed my mind.
Kenny, Scott Bordeaux, ASU News. Off the field question. Your equipment staff's going to load up the truck, drive 2 or 3 days to Baylor, now in the Big 12. They're driving back and forth these road games. It's a long week. How much appreciation and admiration do you have for the job they do now? Yeah,
they do an unbelievable job. I mean, it's a thankless job sometimes, but they're a big part of the team. I mean, we need them to be successful. I mean, they deal with our players every single day. They're in here in the mornings when I get here. So, I mean, they do an unbelievable job getting our guys ready.
Kenny, what's the Kenny Cameron Cox 12 News.
Oh, hi.
Good morning. What's the toughest part about going to Waco and playing this Baylor team this weekend?
Yeah, they're a good football team. They're well coached. I coached with their defense coordinator, Coach Powell Lidge, but at Oregon. He's one of the best defensive minds. Coach Aranda is known to be one of the best defensive minds, and Coach Pav is they've got an unbelievable staff there, and they do a really, really good job putting pressure on you on both sides of the ball. They're stout up front on the defensive line. They're big. They're strong. They bring all their simulated pressures where you have no clue where it's coming from. They play odd. They play even. So, I mean, they do enough. I think the greatest challenge is putting our guys in the best position to be successful and play fast because I think their coaches do a nice job.
Coach Greg Moore, Arizona Republic. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Good to be seen. It's a rough stretch of schedule coming up, right? I think you've got 5 of the next 6 from Texas. I think you've got 3 ranked teams coming up. How do you keep your players grounded and keep them from looking at the big schedule as a big chunk?
Yeah, we play Baylor. I don't focused on Baylor. That's 100% the focus, and whoever we play after Baylor, we'll play them, and then so be it. But we're 100% focused on Baylor, the current team. This is a good football team. It's a team that, has battled back from a 14-point deficit versus a ranked opponent and beat them on the road. So this is a good football team. They're probably the hottest team in our conference last year to end last season. I don't even know if we get into the Big 12 title game last year if they don't lose on a Hail Mary. In a game. I mean, they're one of the best teams in our league last year. They returned a lot of people, returned the starting quarterback, returned the coordinators. So this is we got to stay focused on one game at a time.
Hey, Coach. Justin Lasser, Joseph Devil's Digest. Jordan Crook just won the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Week. What did you see out of him last week, and how do you think his passion is contagious to the rest of the unit? Yeah,
he was active, man. I mean, he was prepared for what was coming. Coach Coop did a nice job, and that dude works. I mean, like I said, after the game, he got one of our game balls, and it was just the work that he puts in. He works and works and prepares and prepares. You guys come out to practice, and that dude is working every single day. There are no days off, and for that to show up and then him to to win the award. That's really, really cool for him. But he deserves it. I mean, absolutely deserves it.
How you doing, Kenny? Hood Rubino, Devil's Digest. How would you evaluate the pass protection? It seems like it's been somewhat of a rough ride these first 3 games.
Yeah, I mean, week 2, I mean, it was like 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3. Like, I felt really good about it. This last week they had a few pressures that were getting on us, so they did a nice job. You got to give them credit. I was worried about how twitchy they were going into the game and creating a pass rush and creating a negative plays, and they created that. That's what you saw on tape, though. So I think every team has its own challenges with pass pro. Is it pressure driven? Is it third down driven? Is it they have a really good guy who can create a rush? So this last week it was mainly the pressures when they were pressuring and we weren't ready for it. They created a little bit, but our line's playing really well right now. So we got to be a little better at back and pass pickup, and then part of taking shots is sometimes they're going to hit home if they pressure.
Hey, Kenny, Jacob Brooks, Sun Devil Source. You talk a lot about your time with Bo Nix. I was wondering, what did it mean to you to see Troy Franklin have probably his best game in the pros on Sunday, and him and Bo having that connection in the league?
Yeah, they definitely have a connection going back to Oregon. So Troy's a great kid, he's a hard worker. Like, it's awesome to watch those two guys get to play a children's game professionally together. That's pretty cool.
Hey, Kenny. Wanted to touch on something that you mentioned in the past about the new practice facility looking like the 16th hole at the Waste Management. Could you dive into what that picture looks like in your head?
Yeah, I'm going to leave some of that for the athletic department and, let them kind of take the reins there and roll with it.
Doug Franz, Unplugged Podcast. Will you get real into the minutia of why your run game was successful? Was it hand placement? Was it attitude? Was it scheme? What did you do well on tape?
Yeah, I think we simplified, and then we moved people. They were twitchier bunch, not as big. So it was all about making sure we were on the right people. Sometimes when you face bigger bunches, it's about, how do you get 4 hands or 3 hands on people? When you face twitchier guys that move, it's how do you make sure there's 2 hands on every single person. So I think the staff had a good plan, and I think the players executed the plan. They knew what was coming, and we got 2 hands on a person, and we took them where they wanted to go. So I think, every game is a little bit different with how you run the football. This team's completely different. This team's big, strong dudes playing odd 4 eyes. One of the things that Coach Aranda's done forever is he's been so good at small changes to his scheme. So play a 3 versus a 4 eye, a guy head up versus a tight shade, right? So I think the things that he does defensively, that isn't big changes in scheme. He just makes small changes that make it really difficult to game plan for. So I think we're going to put together a good plan.
Coach, do you pay any attention at all to the rankings? You guys are, I think, number 26 in the coaches poll, and you got a bunch of votes in the AP poll but didn't make the top 25. Do you pay much attention to that?
No.
And why not?
I don't care. What were we? I mean, there's teams that are picked 103rd that are some of the top 25 teams in the country this year, and some teams that are some of the top picked in the top 25 that are one of the bottom 103 as well. So, you got to worry about that a little bit at the end of the season. But, when they're picking where you go play and stuff like that after the final game, but you can't control it. Why should we worry about something we can't control?
And what have you seen in the last 3 weeks that really gives you optimism that this team could win a couple games?
Yeah, the passion they played with starting in the second half for Mississippi State, the way we pushed the pile, the way we ran to the football, the way they communicated. They came back the next week, and they went straight back to work. There was no blinking. There was no flinching. It was just, let's get better again. Same thing I said after that Mississippi State game was I felt like we kind of found ourselves in that second half. And I think the guys took that, and we I don't know how much we built on it, but we definitely got better from it. Now we got to continue to build from that, right? Because you can't stay the same. We can't go out there and run the exact same plan this week. We can't go out there and do the exact same thing this week. Those guys get paid to coach. Those players get, they prepare to play us. We got to show them something different. We got to do something different, and we got to be ready for a whole different type of team, whole different skill set.
Hey, Coach. Luke Lemler, Sun Devils source. After the Texas State game, Sam talked about how it was important kind of that they had lost that game against Mississippi State so that they approached that week with a certain tenacity that translated on the field Saturday. Coming off of a comfortable win, how do you build on that going against Baylor?
Yeah, it's the same. I'll say this from now till forever. Great. The emotions of Saturday are exciting. They're fun. You come in Sunday, what can I get better at? What can we get better at? We watch a cut up with the offensive staff. These are the things we want to improve on. Defensive staff want to improve on. Watch the cut up for the special teams coaches. What do we improve on? We then come in today. We meet with the players. This is what we need to improve on, right? And from now till forever, that's the formula. That's the message. It doesn't matter if you win or lose. When we meet on Monday morning, it is time to move on. It's time to get better and flush it.
Coach Michael Carcino, Pitchfork Lunch. Speaking of defense, how do you feel the secondary has just grown? I know during the game, Keith forced a fumble and Miles recovered it, and Boogie Wilson coming in. But how has their growth just helped the defense?
Yeah, they've done an awesome job. Savvy football players. I think we got a lot of savvy guys out there. If they were they are in a video game, I guess. But the play recognition would be high, right? If they were, which I don't even know if they are, but they should be. We've got a lot of guys with high play recognition, high IQ, and I think that just translates to usually getting better throughout the season. So I think all those guys, how much football they've played, they've learned from those snaps, and they get better every single game, and that's always the mission.
Hey, Coach, Adam Keaton, Cronkite News. First chance for you guys to see Sawyer Robertson in your time here. Just what type of challenges does he present to your defense?
Yeah, I actually recruited him out of high school. Didn't get him. Went to Mississippi State to play, he's a heck of a player. He's accurate. He's tall, big, so he can see over the line, make throws over the middle of the field really well, which is obviously a strength of a taller quarterback. Super intelligent. Better athlete than people give him credit for. He's a big dude. I went and saw him throw live at a practice back in high school. So really good player. He's had a lot of success the last 2 years there. So it's going to be a good challenge for us.
And quick follow-up. Sam is such a competitor. Do you find him to kind of get up for these games against these talented quarterbacks in the conference?
Yeah, he's going to compete versus everything. He doesn't like to fail. So he wants to be the very best he can be every single game. Sometimes you just got to take a deep breath and realize you get to play college football at an awesome place, and you're living out your dream, and I think he did that this week.
Hey, Kenny, Damon Allred, Arizona Sports. The 24-yard run by Jackson was the longest play you guys allowed versus Texas State. What do you make of how you guys prevented explosives after that was such an area of emphasis?
Yeah, that was, I think you just said it, that was an area of emphasis. We made it very clear that we played really, really good defense week 2. Take away 3 plays. Man, but that's what makes football different than other sports. One play in football can be worth 7 points, right? No other sport is it that valuable. Can one play? Usually you have to hit 6 baskets. You have to hit 3 baskets. One play in football, 7 points. And if you do 5 of your 75 plays are off, 35 points. Just like that. And I think that's what makes football the ultimate team sport. You have to communicate. You have to play hard. It's because you're going to make those mistakes. But are those mistakes that lead to touchdowns, or they lead to 17-yard gains because everybody's flying to the football, right? So I think it was just the emphasis on it. And I think the guys, took it to heart.
And then quick follow-up. The defense is 2 sacks and 11 tackles for loss ahead of last year's non-conference pace. What do you make of just how that unit is looking going into the Baylor matchup?
Yeah, I've been really pleased with our D-line in the 4-man rush game, getting after the quarterback. Our linebackers in the recontain game, versus 7-man pros, we've been adding pretty well. We've gotten a couple sacks just in the recontain world as well. So I've just been pleased with the games are what they're supposed to look like up front. The straight rushes and the muddy rushes are what they're supposed to look like. We're containing the quarterback. So I've just been pleased with that unit as a whole.
Kenny, what are some of the hallmarks of Aranda's defensive style and the personnel that might stand out to you?
Yeah, big dudes up front. He wants big dudes up front, and he wants to be able to bring pressure from all over. They're called simulated pressures. He wants to be able to act like he's rushing 5, act like he's rushing 6, and only rush 4. because he drops out an end or drops out a defensive tackle, right? So everything is to simulate pressure without bringing it to confuse the quarterback. So your traditional thoughts of that defensive end is going to rush the passer is out. That defensive tackle is going to rush the passer is out because he's going to try to play his coverages with different guys, filling in the puzzle. And then, like I said, he does such a good job. They run what they run, but he does such a good job changing the small details of what they do. Guys from shades to 2 eyes, guys from 4 eyes to 3s. So your angles on blocks just completely get destroyed. But the structure of their defense is the same. So he gets to dictate what he wants you to do by making really small changes every week. It's why he's the head coach at Baylor. It's because he's been one of the best defense coordinators in the country for a long time.
Coach, good afternoon. You've had 4 different guys rush for over 100 yards in the game. How valuable is that in just scheming for upcoming games?
We've had 4?
I believe so.
That's all. Yeah, great. I didn't even know. That's a great stat. That's awesome. I mean, if you can have 4 guys rush for over 100 yards, just shows the versatility you have. It's hard to, lock in on a guy. So, yeah, that's positive.
Kenny, you referenced Sam taking a deep breath against Texas State and just enjoying college football. Do you think he maybe was placing a little bit too much pressure on himself to start the season? And did you have a conversation with him about that just to say, hey, look, just, relax and enjoy what you're doing?
Yeah, Sam's a phenomenal player. Like I've said multiple times, I don't think I did a good job in week 2 getting him ready to play football. I think he did a really good job this week preparing, and I think that showed up on tape. He was comfortable, he was prepared, and he played really well. So, like I said earlier, last week, I think that second week was on me. I don't think I did a good job preparing him to play quarterback. I think he kind of prepared really well this week. He had a really good week of practice, and I think he played really well.
Hey, Coach. Ryan Myers, Devil's Digest. You guys had 7 receptions from tight ends this last week, and seeing Shimon really get a lot of touches this time around, what do you make of the tight end group's impact for you guys on offense over the last week?
Obviously very similar to what I said last week. We've always had a plan to get the tight ends the ball, but if you don't get first downs, you don't have enough plays to get them the ball. So I think we finally got enough plays to where we could actually get other guys the ball and get into a little bit of a rhythm on offense. And when you get into a rhythm and other guys are touching the ball, you're moving the ball around, it's harder to stop the primary plays because you get to run all your complements, right? Because everybody has a plan of attack going into a game, and then you have all your stuff off of it. Well, if you can't run your stuff off of it because you don't have enough plays, your primary attack is worse because you're not protecting it, right? And you can't just call your protection plays on 2nd and 9 and get to 3rd and 11 sometimes, or 3rd and 9 or 3rd and 7, because that's going to be poorly efficient 3rd downs. So I think we finally were in manageable 3rd downs, manageable 4th downs, which allowed us to convert, which allowed us to run more plays, which allowed more guys to touch the ball and actually show the system or the game plan more.
Coach, you talked about how pleased you were with your defensive production these past few weeks. Someone that I've noticed on nearly every single play is Keyshawn Elliott. Can you kind of talk about the impact he has on the unit, even on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, he's just steady Eddie, man. Like every single day he shows up and you know what you're going to get from Keyshawn. He's going to work hard. He's going to be one of the first people in the building. He's going to eat right. He's going to stretch. Like he's going to truly treat this like he's a professional. Like he so consistent in his work. He's intelligent. He's instinctful. So, you just get a guy that you can absolutely trust. I think that's the easiest way to describe Keyshawn is you can trust him with anything and have a lot of faith if he says he's going to do something, he's going to do it.
Back to Chris's question about the front 7. How are you normally coaching this up? Is Ben full on calling out protection schemes? Is that Sam? Do you call a play, and if it's 3 tech, block it this way, change it if it's 4-eye, or do you change the play? How do you coach this
I don't
up?
want to get too much into how we change things and stuff like that, just because I know Powell will watch this, and he's a good football coach, and he'll try to get us. But we try to do it multiple ways. I think any good system has to be able to have the center and the quarterback change pros, in conjunction with each other, or not change pros or fake change pros. When you're a change pro team and you're a check team, you also have to have dummy checks that mean nothing so teams don't know what's going on, right? But yeah, I'm not going to get too much into the nuances of how that stuff works.
Hey, Coach. Last season, you guys saw a large portion of your success in the middle eight. How would you evaluate how you guys have played in those segments so far this season, and how big is that in conference play?
Yeah, I mean, week 2 we were plus. I mean, I include the first possession of the second half, even if that takes 7 minutes or whatever it takes. So the last 2 weeks we were plus 10 in both games, field goal, touchdown in both games. We missed an opportunity at the end of the first half this last week to really, score a field goal, get a stop, and then we got the ball back again, and we had an opportunity to go score again. And, I showed the guys I would have liked to manage that situation a little bit different in terms of our aggressiveness on the 2nd and 1 maybe. But I thought we're doing well. I mean, we're plus 20 in the last 2 weeks, so that's pretty good.
Hey, Boogie was a pretty seamless, it seemed, replacement for Xavier Alford on Saturday. Just curious, after watching the film, what you thought of how he looked and how comfortable you are with him in that spot if X misses some time.
Yeah, I don't think you can ever replace Xavier. He's first team All Big 12. He's one of the leaders of our football team. But he wasn't playing at 100%, and that wasn't fair for him to fight through and play at 70% like week 2. That just wasn't fair to him and his future. Back to what I said, I want to protect our guys no matter how badly they want to play. We got to protect them from themselves because they're competitors. But Boogie went in there, and he did an awesome job. We found out he was going to start Saturday morning, and he went in there. There's a reason we brought him in. We have a lot of faith in Boogie. He's one of the happiest people I've ever met, which is awesome. Like I already said what I asked before the game, and he's just, I'm gonna play my best. He's just that type of guy, which is awesome. So he went out there and played a really good game. He flew downhill. He made some nice tackles. He had some good ball disruption. So I was really, really happy with how he played.
Kenny, as you're building the Texas to Tempe pipeline, you're going up against these Texas teams so consistently. What are some of those common threads or common characteristics you see out of players that come out of Texas, whether it's how ready they are to play or any other characteristics they may have?
I mean, just the toughness and the love of the game. That's what I like out of, regardless of where a player's from, just the toughness and the love of the game. You love the game, the work ethic. I think correlates with love of the game. So I think, you can find some of those guys or a lot of those guys in Texas with just how much, football matters in the state of Texas. So I definitely look for that when looking in the state of Texas. And I look for that when I look in the state of California and the state of Utah and the state of Arizona, Hawaii, wherever that is. Right? We always look for those characteristics. You just find a lot of that in Texas because the care level's high.
Hey, Kenny, you've talked a lot about the depth in the running back room with Kyson, Raleek, and Kanye. How much does it speak to the natural talent and also the work ethic that Demarius Robinson has getting on the field as a true freshman?
Yeah, he's a worker. I showed him clips all spring about him having horrible ball security. And I literally stood up in front of the team and I said, watch, this dude will have good ball security by fall camp because it matters to him, because he cares, right? For people it matters to, you fix problems. And he's always had the wiggle. He always played with good pad level. When you tackle him, he's going to fall forward because he runs so low to the ground, a little bit. He's not going to run you over, but he's going to run underneath the contact, which makes you fall forward. And then he cares. So I think anytime you have a guy with that care level and the talent to boot, you have a chance to play early. So I'm happy to see him playing, That's man. He always jokes around. He calls it Kenny Man. That's my guy. Thank you.